Hello guys, I'm Sammy from HackerBad.net, and today we're going to be talking about the legality of private online game servers. Now, first off, a small little disclaimer. Law is kind of something that isn't global, so law will depend on the country that you live in. However, there are certain legal standards that have been adopted by most countries, especially the West, and I'm going to base everything I'm saying on these kinds of standards. So, what is the legal situation? Am I allowed to set up a private server for an online game? Under what conditions am I allowed to do so? Am I allowed to make money off it? Am I allowed to use private servers? Can I get punished legally for using these servers? Now, first off, if you're just using any kind of private online game server that you're not actually own or participate in setting up or monetizing, then you don't have a problem because nobody is gonna come after you legally for simply using a server. I mean, that is not yours and not profiting in any other way. The most that could happen to you in that case is that the people that own the game ban your actual account on their game, not on the alternate server, and that's not really anything to worry about. So the really icky stuff, where it gets a little bit more dangerous is if you're trying to set up your own server, and especially if you're asking for donations or even allowing people to buy stuff on your server. A very, very, very good example of this is Minecraft, because Minecraft is one of those online games where the creators actually incentivize you to, set up your own server. They give you a little .exe file that you can use to set up your own Minecraft server very easily. Now, that's all good. You set up your server, you play with friends or whatever. However, where it gets, as I said, a little bit more gray hat or even black hat, which means kind of illegal, is when you're starting to ask for money. Now, what's okay is to ask for some kind of membership fee in order to have the server, running, to keep the servers running. But anything beyond that, for example, a lot of servers have started to have premium accounts. As you can see here, people can pay for certain premium levels and they'll get, they get to spawn items and they get to, I don't know, run faster, jump higher, and so on, and repair all their equipment. Now, this is where it gets into the potentially illegal stuff, because this, arguably, since people have to pay you to get premium accounts, is a form of unfair competition because you're using the software or the game of a developer that is not yours in order to make money. And that means to make more money than you're investing into running the server. So you're turning a profit. Alright? Now, this is where it gets a little bit more dangerous, and this is also where the developer of the game can come after you. I'm not saying they will, because obviously, as with copyright and so on, if there's nobody accusing you, it's basically legal, because you need somebody to defend their copyright in order for the copyright to actually exist in a way. If nobody defends their intellectual property, then the intellectual property legally doesn't exist. But, that's another principle. Now, in order to be safe in this kind of context, use logic for one. Is it okay to ask for $185 to give someone God mode or, I don't know, on your server? And on the other hand, ask the developers if they're okay with it. Okay, ask their PR department or whoever. And if they're okay with it, good. Go ahead, do your stuff. But most likely they will have certain limitations when it comes to monetizing their game, because it's their game. and they have decided that they want to not have people pay premiums, all right? And if you're starting to ask for premiums, although technically it doesn't really cost the developer, it's still a sort of unfair competition. However, this is all judicial discretion, as it's called, which means basically you don't know exactly what's right or wrong until it's in front of a judge, and the judge decides how to apply the written law in this particular case. And as we have seen in a lot of cases involving, for example, the use of bots in online games and so on, the interpretations of lawyers, or of judges rather, is rather varied. Some lawyers have decided that, for example, World of Warcraft, a very popular online game, of course, is in itself a country of sorts, and a developer of that game is the government of that country. So it's really interesting what sort of weird concepts these lawyers come up with. And yeah, this is basically just all I can tell you. It's just dangerous as soon as you're making money. And then, what should be obvious, but I'm still going to mention it, if you're trying to have a private server in a game that doesn't offer software to make your own private server, as you probably know, in that case you would have to illegally acquire the software, the server software that runs the game. And obviously, if you're some kind of insider, or if you run their servers and you just copy their stuff and you use it to run your own private server, yeah, that's not good. Because in persistent world MMOs, for example, or MMORPGs, there's almost no other way to clone the server than to actually hack into the real servers and copy their software. Okay, and this is how a lot of, for example, World of Warcraft private servers came into being, as far as I know, or other MMORPGs. It's either a developer that has gone rogue and decided to steal the software and run their own game or own private servers and make money off of them, or it's hackers that got into the servers, copied the software, and then decided to set up their own servers. Either way, yeah, the developer is definitely going to come after you because you're competing with them unfairly by using their intellectual property. And this is a very obvious case of unfair competition. There's no real judicial discretion here because this is a very, very obvious case of unfair competition and will definitely get you sued. Unless you live in North Korea or somewhere where there is actually no legal access, which, these are not really the nicest places to live, so you're gonna have to make a decision concerning that, I guess. So yeah. Now this is basically the legal stuff. If I had to put it into a little bit more simple terms, if there is an official software that lets you set up servers, good. The only thing you're going to have to watch out for in that case is if you're trying to make this a business and actually turn a profit, in which case you need to ask the developers if they're okay with that. If they're not, doesn't mean that they're going to come after you, but it's definitely more risky. And if you're setting up either emulation or even stealing their server software, well, you're going to have to get ready to get sued, basically. And that's just the way it works. And that's the way it has to work, because developers need to make money, and if people just steal their software and set up their own servers, they won't make money. They have no reason to keep developing the game, or any other game for that matter. And that's how a free market economy kind of keeps itself working. Thanks you guys for watching. I hope I have clarified this a little bit. As I said, if you're just participating in a private server, you're not really opening yourself up to be legally attacked. The worst thing that can happen is that they find out your real account on the real servers and ban you, which doesn't really affect your life in any way, shape, or form, I hope. Thanks guys for watching. See you guys soon.